there everybody, the History Guy here. One of the things I've been doing occasionally in my series in Ultimate General Civil War, the Confederate Campaign with .95 is the version number, is I've occasionally, with some of these bigger battles, been going back and just kind of replaying them with a slightly different strategy just to show how that affects the outcome. So I've decided to do that with Antietam. My first time playing through, played very conservatively. I think most of you would agree with that. Ended up with about 12,000 casualties, inflicted 21,000 on the enemy. Won a pretty solid victory. It was never really in doubt. I thought what I would do this time is play a little bit more aggressively. I may still end up basically holding the same position, but for now I've decided to throw these two brigades up here a little farther up instead of playing back. And then we'll see what happens. And then what I'm going to do is, once I've inflicted a lot of casualties on the enemy, I'm going to go ahead and try to destroy some of his army. And of course that's going to drive up the casualties on both sides, but I want to see how that affects things. So I'm going to give that a try, and as I often do with these, I'll kind of jump in and out of the fight and just show you some of the highlights, and then we'll see how it ends up. Alright, so we're on to phase 2 of the battle, and I'm extending my line up here a little bit. I'm going to bring in some reserves. I'm getting some more artillery up in here now. And, of course, I'm sending my units over here to prepare to repel what comes across that bridge and try to destroy all of those units and take them right out of the fight. But I'm also sending my cavalry over here so I can try to intercept that first cavalry unit that sneaks through every time before everybody else shows up. And I'm also sending some skirmishers with Sharps carbines up here as well. So we're going to try to destroy that cavalry unit before they can get through. I'll get my 24 pounders down there. I'm going to send some howitzers down here as well. And 3 brigades of infantry. I think that should be enough. The rest I'm going to try to extend this line with over here, and then have reserves if they break through. I think I might go ahead and send one more brigade over to the right for now. That's usually I send 4, so. Alright, we'll see how this goes. He hasn't pushed for a general engagement yet. He's holding back. I think he's waiting for the rest of his units to come in. So we'll see how it goes. So he seems to be concentrating all of his force right in this area, so I've decided I'm going to send out one brigade to kind of explore up here to Nicodemus Hill. If it doesn't appear there's much up here, I might drop some skirmishers up here and then try to fold up around him right over here and bring this line around so I can get them engaged in the battle and envelop him. So we'll see how it goes. I got to start resupplying my artillery, though I don't know if it's worth it because they just... Well, this unit's done pretty well, but these 10-pounders really haven't caused all that much damage so far. Maybe if I move them up a little bit. So it doesn't appear there's much up here, so I may try to do that. And here comes the crossing at the bridge. So we'll kind of watch this for a minute and see how this goes. I backed off my infantry a little bit to give my artillery some clearer shots. And I honestly don't remember seeing the cavalry come across. Usually they come first. Wow, and in the first part of this engagement, my main brigade right here lost their commander. There's that cavalry. He just... Honestly, I think he actually just appears there. I don't know how that is that he always ends up right in the middle of my force. He doesn't cross the bridge, he just shows up. Really strange. Alright, we'll be back in a little bit. We'll see how this is going. Alright, so here's the situation with an hour and a half to go in this phase of the battle. I'm doing my usual, just destroying all these units at the bridge. I got this cavalry unit, Rush's Lancers, that decided to try and sneak back behind my line, so I've got Vaughn dealing with them. And I pushed up this unit here to cover that side where he snuck through so it doesn't happen again. I've routed some units already right here. Ammo's an issue, so we're going to go ahead and get resupplied here. Make sure everybody's got plenty of ammo. I did move this line up to right here. There doesn't appear to be any Union forces back here. And I just captured Rush's Lancers, so that's one less unit on the battlefield to worry about. And we'll keep Vaughn back here to cover in case anybody else decides to do the same thing. Let's get these guys routed off the field. And hopefully very soon we'll finish destroying what remains over here. Cobb's howitzers have 700 kills. The 24-pounders have over 700 kills. Just 3 units left that I haven't destroyed yet. And of course, I've got to be careful here because he's going to keep getting more reinforcements. But things are going pretty well. He doesn't appear to be breaking through anywhere. As long as I stay well supplied and well defended, I should be okay. Law's definitely taken a lot of losses there. Because he's not in fortifications. He's just kind of out there in the open. Alright, these guys aren't quite destroyed yet. But we'll get there. So we'll wrap this up and then come back with the next part of the battle. Alright, so he just launched a major melee attack right here at my center. I tried to pull my howitzers out, but couldn't quite get them out in time before they ran into a brigade, so I've rushed 2 of mine in there to protect these guns. He's definitely trying to overwhelm me with numbers. I did break all those units down there at the bridge, so now I'm pulling back to my defensive position to prepare for the next phase of the battle. I may need to go ahead and pull back to the sunken road at this point. In fact, I think I'll go ahead and do that. Come on, guys, get back. So I tried valiantly to hold that position up there, but it was just too hard. He's got too many men, so we're going to drop back to the fortifications. And then that'll set us up for the last phase of the battle, which this actually works out nicely because then I can draw my defensive line straight through. So we'll get through to the next phase and we'll see how this ends up. Okay, so we're on the final phase of the battle now. I'm basically in largely the same position that I fought my last time through, but I've caused a lot more casualties in the meantime because I played up so far in advance. So now we'll see how this all works out. We have the usual kind of fall back to the position at the top of the hill outside the town. And then I'll start folding up this flank like I did last time, and I'm just going to be as aggressive as possible and try to destroy as much of his army as I can. So I'll try to defeat a bunch of these units here, and then I'll advance on them and destroy them. So less than 3 hours to go, and I am starting the process of rolling up his flank. I've already lost more men than I did the last time the entire battle. I've inflicted slightly more casualties. But we'll see how this goes as I continue to press this attack and try to destroy more of his units. I'm hoping I can nab all this artillery back here. I'm keeping forced cavalry and some skirmishers back here just to cover the town. And then I'll continue to roll up this flank, and at some point when I see an opportunity, maybe I'll press things up here, though I'm not sure if that's wise at the moment. He broke through a couple of times at the sunken road, and I had to reinforce them, so I lost a lot of casualties here. Alright, so I finally broke through, and I'm annihilating all the batteries that he had right here. Took a lot of casualties in the process of doing that. But I destroyed all of his infantry in the area, and so he had no more protection for him. He had one infantry brigade that actually got loose in my rear, and so I sent a couple of units of cavalry there to deal with them, and they went from 1,200 men down to about 300 before they disintegrated. So there's about an hour left in the actual battle, but I may continue to press this just to see how many casualties that I can cause. Alright, so here's how we ended up this time around. This time it was 21,000 casualties for me and almost 35,000 for him. I lost 1,000 cavalry. Lost 36 guns. He lost 111 guns. We both lost 1,000 cavalry. So casualties, the number more he had than me was slightly higher. I mean, the last time I lost 12,000, he lost 21,000. So this time I lost 9,000 more, and he lost 14,000 more. So I guess you could argue that that's better, and this is certainly better. The number of 1855s that I gained. Grabbed a lot more weapons this time around, and I was thinking about this too, because I've got so much invested in medicine. There's certainly an argument to be made that going for higher casualties on both sides actually benefits me, because I get a percentage of those back anyway. So just taking a look now at where things stand, he does have a smaller army available to him, so I did cause some damage that way. Looking at what I've got available to me now, I've got about 41,000 available to me, plus this, that gives me about 60,000 total. So I'm not entirely sure whether it was worth it or not, but it's certainly something that could be argued. We could look at the armory here and see just the number of in-stock weapons that I have available to me, especially these Harper's Ferry. That's enough to stock basically almost four brigades. So maybe I'm better off. I don't know. I'll have to think about which one is better off to go with, but definitely much higher casualties on both sides with me being more aggressive that time. So there you have it, and we'll go ahead and press on with this campaign later on today. So thanks for watching. Okay, so what I did was I went back and watched the video from yesterday's fight, and I thought I would run through some numbers for you just to let you know how being more aggressive can affect the future of the game for you. And I thought this was actually kind of interesting. I lost yesterday when I fought the Battle of Antietam. I lost 12,027 men. In terms of, I'm just talking about infantry right now. The guns and the cavalry were actually pretty similar. So this time I lost 21,500 men. So I lost about 9,500 more men this playthrough around. Now, looking at what I have available to me in my army, yesterday, after the battle in which I lost 12,000 men, between what is in each of my three corps plus the manpower I have available up here, I have about 71,000 men. This time around, it's about 61,700, so about 9,000 less. So it's basically identical. The 9,000 more casualties that I lost are reflected then in having 9,000 fewer men. So that makes sense. Here's what's really interesting. Yesterday, I inflicted almost 22,000 casualties on the Union. At the end of the battle, then, he had available to him between 127,000 and 132,000 men. This time, I inflicted about, 34,500 men, casualties, so a difference of about 13,000 more casualties. But that dropped his available army by 21,000. So even though my numbers were identical, the 14,000 more casualties I inflicted on the enemy resulted in an additional 7,000 men not being available in his intelligence service there. So the net result of this is that after yesterday's fight, he outnumbered me by approximately 60,000 men. After today's fight, he only outnumbers me by about 50,000 men. So I made a difference by being more aggressive and causing more casualties, even though the additional casualties were pretty similar. I closed that gap by 10,000 men in terms of how much he outnumbers me. So it pays to be aggressive, I think, is the bottom line. Even though you may also lose more casualties and it may drop your numbers down, the end result, I think, is that it pays off. So that's just an observation, and I'll probably do this again after Fredericksburg just to see the same thing, if that's the same result. If we can drop this number even further, I'm probably going to be more aggressive at Fredericksburg just to see what happens. But there you have it. Being more aggressive paid off to the tune of about a 10,000 man difference in terms of what he has available to him. So that's all for now. I'll probably come back next with Prairie Grove, which is the next battle in the series here. Actually, no, Corinth. Corinth would be October of 1862, then Prairie Grove, then on to Fredericksburg. So, as always, I welcome your comments. If you've observed similar things, please share below so we can all kind of find out what you've learned about that process. And we'll see you again soon with some other videos. Thanks for watching.